fish, listen, repeat.
Broadcasting from the Camp Grilling Studios, this is Sporting Journal Radio.
Presented by OnX. Know where you stand with OnX.
That's a new personal best pike here.
Now here's your host, Bret Amundson.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. I'm Bret Amundson. Thank you for tuning in on this station right here. Maybe you're watching this, YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, Instagram, wherever it is. Thank you very much for joining us here today. We got a lot to get to. We're going to talk about some big, nasty stuff with Eelpout and lake trout. Matt Erickson from Big Nasty Tackle is going to be joining us later in the show. Joe Henry's got a Lake of the Woods fishing report. We're going to break down some late ice fishing tips as well. Erik Osberg is going to join us to talk about panfish fishing right now in Ottertail County, how the conditions are. And we're going to try to get Lucas Mertens up at Haybell Heights too and get a report from Devil's Lake. That's Dan Amundson and David Eckhardt right over there. How you guys doing?
Hey,
doing well.
Good.
I know you guys both have been fishing a little bit. The beauty of it is one of you guys fished open water and one of you guys did not. So
one of us had more fun than the other.
I don't know.
The other one was in a boat.
Yeah, that's why it was more fun. Come on.
But I think you guys both caught about the same amount of fish.
Yeah.
So
well, that's why I had more fun, because I was in a boat.
I guess. All right, so we'll find out where they went and how they did here in just a little bit. Dan, who are the sponsors this week?
Yeah, our sponsors this week are OnX. Get the OnX Hunt app today. Know where you stand with OnX. Camp Grayling, catch the Grand Slam. Trophy pike, lake trout, grayling, and walleye. Fish Camp Grayling this summer. Ottertail Lakes Country, find your inner otter at ottertaillakescountry.com. Haybell Heights, chase perch and walleyes out of a heated snow bear on Devil's Lake. Learn more at haybellheights.com. Lake of the Woods Tourism. The walleye capital is Lake of the Woods. Plan a trip to ice fish in March at lakeofthewoodsmn.com. Prairie Sportsman, the new season is underway. Watch episodes anytime at the Prairie Sportsman YouTube channel or check your TV guide for local listings. The Minnesota Deer and Turkey Classic is this weekend, March 11th through the 13th at Canterbury Park in Shakopee. Learn more at mndeerclassic.com. The Midwest Wild Sheep Foundation is giving away a Dall sheep hunt at their banquet March 25th and 26th at the Minneapolis Marriott Southwest. And Mid-Migration Outfitters, we got limited dates for spring snow goose hunts left. Get more info at midmigrationoutfitters.com. One of these days, we'll finish this on time.
Take a breath, Dan. That's a lot to get through.
Too many sponsors.
So Saturday, I will be at the Minnesota Deer and Turkey Classic at Canterbury Park in Shakopee. Saturday from 1 to 3. Stop by and say hi there. And then also I'm going to be at the Northwest Sports Show this weekend. That's going on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll be at the Tazen Lake Lodge and Camp Grayling booth. So if you want to talk about a trip to northern Saskatchewan for 50-inch pike, 60-pound lake trout, maybe 70-pound lake trout, fly fishing for walleyes in 2 feet of water and catching one after another, or going after that Arctic grayling with your fly rod or spinning rod or whatever, we can catch the Grand Slam up there. I'll tell you all about it at the Northwest Sports Show this weekend. Oh, and then don't forget, coming up in about a month or so, our 500th show. So this, what is this, 495? 496? 496. So in a month. Whoa. Yeah, we have our 500th show, and we're throwing a big party up at Lake of the Woods. We'll be at Riverbend Resort. Check it in April 4th. We're going to have a 2-day fishing tournament on the Rainy River, the 5th and the 6th. That'll be through Fish Donkey, so if you want to be a part of it, you got to download the Fish Donkey app, and you can sign up for the SJR Rainy River 500. It's $20 a person. We got prizes for the biggest walleyes, top 3 biggest walleyes, top 3 biggest sturgeon, and we're also going to do the biggest non-walleye or sturgeon. Corey Loeffler's like, hey, I want to give away a call for something different. How about if somebody catches something different than a walleye or a sturgeon? The biggest one, I'll give them a prize. So.
Knowing Corey, wants it to be a salmon.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to find too many. There's a lot of different species in the Rainy River. Way. But I don't know if salmon are up there. But we want to thank Yamaha's Right Waters for sponsoring this event. This is a really cool deal through Yamaha. They're all about sustainability and clean water and sustainable fisheries. That's their Right Waters program. Also, Live Target is a sponsor. We're going to be giving away a bunch of crankbaits and products from Live Target. We also have Smith's Consumer Products. So they make fillet knives, electric fillet knives, knife sharpeners. We're going to be giving away a ton of stuff from Smith's as well. You can call up Riverbend Resort and get a discount on lodging by using the SJR 500 code when you're booking your lodging up there. I know they have some lodging still available. It's April 4th through April 7th. There's a happy hour every day in the bar, and we're going to be giving away prizes every day in the bar. We're going to be recording our 500 show up there. You can be a part of it. Join us. Find all the details at sportingjournalradio.com. And then while you're there, you can, if you missed our show last week, we had a lot of fun. We went way long with Jay Siemens. That was a good interview, I think. It was a fun time with him. And you can watch the show on our YouTube channel, our Facebook, or just go to sportingjournalradio.com. And if you don't want to sit through us talking before the interview, some people just want to I just want to listen to you talk to Jay. You can download the Finding Fins Fishing podcast, and that is available now to listen to Jay Siemens, or you can watch it too, right? Probably somewhere they can watch.
Yeah, it'll be on YouTube actually right now.
All right. Very good. So go there and check that out. That's how that works. So we have Sporting Journal Radio. It's our big show with all of us on it. And then if you just want fishing content, we have the Finding Fins podcast. Or if you just want our hunting content, you can go to the Finding Fur and Feathers and subscribe to that podcast as well. So recently we were down in Florida. We got out of the cold weather briefly and fished with some of the Bassmaster Elite pros who were just at the Bassmaster Classic here recently. It's like what they call it, the Super Bowl of fishing. Mm-hmm. Such a big event. So all these guys that we spent time with in Florida were up there. We spent time in the boat with Greg DePalma from New Jersey, and we've got a video on our YouTube channel and YouTube channel probably that you can go watch this at. But here's a little sneak peek of that video right now.
Flipping and pitching like this, the goal is to kind of stop it up top, let it fall nice and quiet in the water. That's kind of the goal. And the other thing is too, so when I pitch it in there and I'm looking at it like this and I stop it in there, I want to follow that. I don't want to pull the line. I don't want to pendulum that thing at all. I want that bait to fall natural and straight down. So when I pop it in there, the biggest thing is with flipping and pitching, follow it down, gets to the bottom, click your reel, keep all that tension right on you all the time. Like I said, you never want to have slack unless you're working it. But when that fish bites it, do not have slack. Because when you get to set that hook, the weight we're using is so big that if this bass bites this thing and I do a slack line hook set, is going to pop. And when it pops, if it's slack, it's going to pop the mouth open. But if I have the tension out and I'm just pulling's going to just completely dig the hook. That's why it's so important with heavy line, big rod to just pull. Get all that slack out and just let her eat.
So he broke down a lot of tips for us on how to fish mats for big bass. So you can see the full video. And then we also show you some of the alligators that we saw up close and personal while we were down there. Go check out Sporting Journal Radio on YouTube. Either one of you guys been up close to alligators before?
I've been bit by an alligator before. True story.
I've seen them from an airboat, but not more than 10 feet.
Airboat would be awesome. But I want to hear about the airboat, but let's just back up for 1 second here, Dan. What do you mean you got bit by an alligator?
Well, actually, let's top this. I got bit by an alligator in an airboat.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
It was, we were down in New Orleans, and we were on an airboat tour of the swamp. And the guy, he's got a cooler sitting next to him. Our guide's got a cooler. We've seen some alligators at this point, and he's got a cooler sitting next to him. And he says to my buddy, hey, grab me a water out of that cooler for me real quick. So he opens the cooler, and I've never seen this kid move so fast in his life. He recoils back, and well, what's in there? And he's got just a little baby alligator, like, yay big, and calls it Justin, just in case you don't see an alligator on the airboat tour. and so he lets us hold this gator, whatever. And one of us, we're like 16 at the time, young and dumb. And, well, can we let it bite us? Well, sure, didn't care. And so he stuck his finger in, clamped down, and got bit by an alligator. So,
I guess you always have that to say now. That
exactly.
Hey, I've been bit by an alligator.
I mean, you just do that so you can say it to the women, right? I mean, that was the whole
And that's
point.
exactly why I just said it in a room full of dudes.
All right. Well, I guess that's pretty cool. Getting bit by an alligator on an airboat. I had no idea, Dan. Congratulations.
Thanks.
All right. We got more stories like that one coming up, maybe like that one, coming up here on the show. Erik Osberg is going to be joining us. Also, Matt Erickson from Big Nasty Tackle. Joe Henry with some late ice fishing tips. We're also going to talk about ice climbing when we come back. Hey, it's Bret Amundson from Sporting Journal Radio, and our 500th show is coming. To celebrate, we're going fishing for some of the biggest fish in the region, and you're invited. We're headed to Lake of the Woods April 4th through the 7th for a party at Riverbend Resort. We're also hosting a 2-day fishing tournament that's open to anyone fishing the Rainy River on April 5th and 6th. Download the Fish Donkey app and sign up today. The Sporting Journal Radio 500 Show Party, brought to you by Smith's Consumer Products, Yamaha's Right Waters, and Live Target. Find out more info at sportingjournalradio.com. So it has been a wild winter, from going down to Florida and fishing with the Bass Elite Pros and seeing some alligators to ice fishing on Lake of the Woods, and then sight fishing rainbow trout, which we're going to talk about here in just a second, and then doing something else that's kind of unique in Minnesota. I got to go ice climbing, and we filmed it for Prairie Sportsman. Now, you might be saying to yourself, what the heck is ice climbing? Well, it's like rock climbing, only it's with ice, and it is something you can do in Minnesota. I learned about this opportunity in Sandstone while we were out there kayaking, or I guess we were whitewater rafting. The Kettle River is what we did. And with Tony Vavrica, Hardwater Sports over there in Sandstone. And he said, you got to come back here in the wintertime and do some ice climbing. So this is what it looks like to go ice climbing in Minnesota. Nice. Yeah, so that's Tony Vavrica down there kind of coaching me along, because I had no clue what I was doing. I really didn't. Does that ice climbing to you guys, does that sound like something you guys would do?
Maybe. I would
do that. It looks fun to me.
I could take it or leave it, I think.
Yeah,
I like walking on the ice, not up the ice.
Right. Well, and it's just like one of those things, and I'm glad I did it, and it is fun to do, and I'd encourage everybody to go try it, but you're literally just climbing a wall of ice, like I like drilling holes in it and trying to find fish, like that. But it is something interesting. And to be, just an hour north of the Twin Cities and to have that opportunity here in Minnesota was pretty wild. And I knew you'll see it in the show, but I'm all strapped in. You got a harness on. There's a rope that goes up through an anchor and comes back down. And then you have somebody on the ground, Tony in this case, that was there, and he's harnessed in and holding on to the rope. So should I fall, he'll lower me down and catch me. But I told him as I was strapped in, getting ready to go up, I go, I probably should have stretched before I did this. And for like 2 days afterwards, I could barely walk. Like my arms hurt, my legs hurt, because you're using these ice saws to get yourself leverage in the ice wall, and then the spikes. And he kept saying, trust your feet, trust the spikes on your shoes. These clamp-ons, they're like $250, $300 cleats, basically. Wow. Huge spikes on them. I don't know if we have another clip or not, or if you can see them in that clip, but you have to trust them. And thankfully, the ice there have been places where people had climbed already, so there were some little divots in the ice that I could use as leverage to climb up and climb down. So you could tell I climbed 3 times, and you could tell by the third one I was like a spider monkey going up the side. Like I'd kind of figured it out to some extent. I made it all the way up to the top, and I touched the carabiner at the top. So it was a pretty cool experience to be able to watch that coming up on a segment for Prairie Sportsman. So many things you can do in the wintertime. We embrace wintertime outdoor activities here in Minnesota. And if I lived in northern Minnesota, I would definitely be on my snowmobile more. But again, I still haven't fired up my snowmobile this winter down here. You guys, we really we haven't had the snow.
No.
We've had some. I've just been, I guess, too busy to do it. But do you have a snowmobile, David?
I used to have one, yeah. I still have it. I just don't ride it anymore.
You don't ride it. Well, you got a wheeler with tracks, which makes if you want to fish or hunt and there's some snow, the wheeler with tracks is
you can go through quite a bit with that thing.
Definitely the way to go. But Bret McComas, we're glad to hear that Bret's doing all right. He hit, I guess he was doing about 30 across the lake, ice fishing the other night, and hit a drift that was left over from, suppose there was a wheelhouse there that snow drifted around. Didn't see it, hit that drift. He laid there for an hour face down before he got some help. And I know of some guys, I know of one guy for sure that hit an approach and broke his back on a snowmobile like that. So thankfully, it sounds like he's got some broken ribs or fractured ribs, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's going to be all right. So I'm glad to hear that you're going to be all right, Bret. But, man, that would be, if you don't see something like that coming, that's a shock to the system.
Yeah.
For sure.
That has always scared me. And then blocks from spearing, too.
Oh, yeah.
If you're on a lake where they do a lot of spearing, that would always scare me. Run into one of those in the middle of the night.
You ever gotten in any sort of ATV accident?
I rolled my snowmobile on a lake 7 years ago.
Oh, really?
It was just went out. It had thawed, and there was a lot of slush, and then it refroze, so it was like glass with little drifts that had frozen into ice. And I was doing probably 20, and I tapped the brake, and it was on glare ice, and it came sideways, and I was heading right for one of those drifts.
Oh.
And I hit it sideways, and it threw me off, and I landed on my head and my back and just got ready to catch the snowmobile. I didn't know where it was, and it rolled once, landed back on the skis, and broke the kill switch off and killed it. So I had to take my pliers out, pop it back up, and fired right up on one pole, and I went about 5 miles an hour right back to the shoreline.
5 miles because you wanted to go slow at that point.
Yeah, I didn't want to roll it again.
Yeah. Nothing else wrong with the snowmobile, though?
No.
Oh, wow. Well, that's lucky. And it didn't land on you when you rolled it?
No, it threw me far enough that it just rolled once and landed right back on the skis.
Did you get injured at all or anything?
Yeah, I hit my head because, of course, I wasn't wearing a helmet. I was just going to run out for a couple minutes and check the ice. So that was a mistake. Always put your helmet on.
Yeah. I'll tell you, like, I remember I don't remember where we were doing some snowmobile fishing trip, and we were going to go with some other guys. And like, well, do you got a snowmobile helmet? And I was like, we're going fishing, man. I don't need a helmet. And not only is it safe, but it keeps your head warm.
Yeah.
when it's real, real cold. Because it might have been the Lake of the Woods trip where we snowmobiled up to the angle, and it was like, I think it was like 35 below wind chill or something like that. And I was pretty glad I was wearing a helmet, and a nice snowmobile helmet at that. But, well, I'm glad you're okay there too. I did ride on a snowmobile the other day with Garrett Sevier, and he had a helmet on. I didn't wear one, and we weren't going far, going too fast. But we filmed for Prairie Sportsman a sight fishing rainbow trout trip, and I've always wanted to do that. I think trout, I wish we had more trout lakes where I'm at here, kind of in that southwestern Minnesota portion of the state. We obviously just don't have the bodies of water for it, but you don't have to go as far north as I thought you did. There are some lakes kind of around the central part of the state where you can go fish for trout. And this was a put and take fishery. It was a stocked lake, so it was doing pretty well for fish. And Garrett would he clover-leafed. He just took his auger and then just clover-leafed a big hole. And we were in probably 11 feet of water or so, and you could see crystal clear. You could see all the way down. You could see the fish coming in, and then we were just sight fishing rainbow trout, which was a lot of fun. And what was crazy about it is we were literally, I could almost touch the shoreline, and we were in 11 feet of water. And when I put my underwater camera down and looked at the bottom of the lake, when you're staring down at it, it looks like the bottom is pretty level, pretty flat like that. And when I put my camera down and put it on the bottom was like this, like it was shoo. And that's where Garrett likes to target those rainbows, is on those steep drop-offs coming down where the rainbows will kind of roam and look for food. Do we have a clip from ice fishing?
Nope.
I thought I put one in there.
I don't think so. We've got eelpout, if we want to look at an eelpout. We don't have any rainbows.
I thought I put some
I don't
in
think
there.
you did.
Yeah. All right. Well, you have to just wait for Prairie Sportsman and watch that coming up with Garrett Sevier, who spends a lot of time in Ottertail Lakes country, where ice fishing for tullabees, panfish, and other species is going strong. We're going to learn more about that with Erik Osberg right now.
Don't miss the 2022 Minnesota Deer and Turkey Classic at its new location at Canterbury Park in Shakopee, March 11th through the 13th. This year's Classic features top hunting celebrities like Driven TV's Pat Nicole Reeve, Lee and Tiffany Lukoski of the Crush TV, and Melissa Bachman. Get your antlers scored, view more than 300 antler entries, and see the latest hunting products, plus a great lineup of lodges and outfitters. For complete details on the 2022 Deer and Turkey Classic, visit mndeerclassic.com. Ice fishing season is here, This winter, plan a trip to Devils Lake, North Dakota. Not only will you have the chance to catch their legendary perch, but this year, Hay Bale Heights has been catching big walleye after big walleye. And they're doing it from a mobile, comfortable snow bear. No matter how cold it is outside, you're warm and toasty on the inside. Learn more and book a trip today at haybaleheights.com. That's haybaleheights.com. All right, next here on the show, we're going to talk parenting tips with Erik Osberg from Ottertail Lakes Country. Erik, I could have sworn it was a school day the other day, and I saw you out on the ice fishing with your kid, and I know it was his birthday. Was that a weekday, or did you take him fishing for his birthday, or what?
Well, just so you know, that was an old picture. That wasn't of that day.
Oh,
and
all right.
And as long as you bring it up, my wife is a principal. Okay. So my kids never get out of school. Like if they're like, they have to have a fever of 100 and we have to have witnessed the vomit, right? Like they can't, like I want to take the boy up to the Rainy River in March or late March or early April, but it's got to be a weekend because he can't get out of school because my wife's a principal. So no, I did not. He was not skipping school.
Well, I got a couple of dates for you to come up to the Rainy River, April 5 and 6. Well, yeah, we're having our 500 show party up there. You should definitely.
There you go.
It's during the week, though, so I'll write you a note. I'll tell you what.
I can come up during the week. It's just my boy can't, which is okay.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll throw up, and then you take a picture of Willie and make it look like he's throwing up, and I'll Photoshop it so it looks like it's him doing it, and we'll send it to your wife, and I'll get him out of school for you.
Okay, now I'm in trouble with the wife. Good job. Well, it's my fault. I brought it up. It's my fault.
We're gonna be teaching classes up there. There's gonna be some education going on, so we'll make it worth his while. We'll tell him happy birthday for us first of all.
We will. Thank you.
That kid loves to fish, and it could have been a recent picture because ice fishing isn't over yet, is it, Erik?
Ice fishing is not over in Ottertail Lakes Country. There's good ice. We were out this weekend and I did not have an extension. I was using a pistol bit and I like every inch of that auger is what it took to get down to the bottom. And as long as the snow is kind of settled, there's still slush. There's still, it's been a hard winter as far as moving around goes, but, there might be that. There you go. Yep. We were out with Randon. There's 3, dare I say, 4 weeks of ice fishing, depending on obviously what the temperatures do, but there's a lot of ice and it's going to be a while before it's gone.
Well, I know you guys have been targeting tulipies out there. We've talked to Randon about it a little bit too. And did you guys take some veterans out?
We took some hospital workers out. We took some healthcare heroes out. Our local hospitals, so Perham Health, Tri-County Health, and Lake Region Health, we're connected with American Heroes Outdoors. And so our idea this year was, hey, let's do something a little bit different. Healthcare workers have had a pretty rough stretch over the last couple of years. Let's give them a day of thanks and appreciation and get them out of the office, so to speak. And so, yeah, we took 9 or 10 healthcare workers. There you go. Took 9 or 10 healthcare workers out and had a blast. And it was, they were so, and if you've been around veteran events, right, where the veterans are very appreciative and they keep saying thank you and thank you and thank you. It was the same bit. It was the same deal. They just felt very fortunate and the fish cooperated and it worked out.
That's great. Well, and it looked like you guys were fishing tulipies, I think, on that trip. Was that?
Well, on that trip, we were fishing bluegills. We were primarily bluegill focused, and we caught enough for a fish fry for lunch, which is always a good thing. So we had fresh fish right on the ice, and then over the weekend, Saturday morning, we went and we had Randon had a bachelor party. He was entertaining a bachelor party for a guide trip, and I was his first mate, so to speak.
Oh, sure.
And that morning we targeted tulipy, and we had 13 guys, and all of them except for 3 caught at least one tulipy, and that's
Wow.
Again, I know you and Randon talked about this already, but if you've never targeted tulipy, it's a hoot. It's a blast. They're hard fighting fish. They're in deeper water. It's different. It's interesting. It's just a nice change of pace, especially this time of year.
Well, and especially this time of year when you can't target, say, walleyes. Obviously, you can go after panfish, and there's a few panfish in Ottertail County. There's a nickname for that, I think. The old panfish paradise.
There is a few in panfish paradise, yes, sir.
But tulipies, they're good smoked. They're fun to catch, and it is something a little bit different. And I know guys it's almost like the Eelpout story. Tulipies are becoming more popular as a target fish. I think people are just starting to look at, and especially as catch and release becomes more and more popular with younger generations, I think they're looking at every fish is fun to catch, and the challenge of trying to target that fish, because they all have different habits and tendencies. So sometimes you have to change your presentation up a little bit, try a different bait, fish on the bottom, fish suspended. For tulipies, I'd imagine you were in probably deeper water, fishing somewhere in the middle of the water column, I bet.
Yeah, we were in 68 to 70 feet of water, and the fish were anywhere from 30 to 50, 60 feet down. And yeah, and I'm not good at catching tulipies. I don't have the magic touch. Some people do. The funniest part was, so we had this, it was a bachelor party. So there was 3 guys that showed up a little late, if you know what I mean. Right? Like, we started in the morning, and there was 3 guys that decided, you know what, I need more sleep.
Maybe they've got a picture we could use to get Willie out of school.
Exactly. So these 3 guys, I had mentioned 3 guys hadn't caught a tulipy. And so these 3 guys roll in, right? Like they're just out of bed. And one guy had been working his flasher so hard for hours, and he just couldn't get one to bite. And one of these guys comes over and sits down and picks up a rod, and two strokes of the wand, and boom, he's hooked up. And we're like, see, it's better to be lucky than good sometimes. But it was especially when you're on a multiple day trip, right? Like you're fishing Friday, you're fishing all day Saturday, whatever it is. That morning tulipy bite is just a nice change of pace. Just to try something a little bit different, and then you can go back and target those bluegills and crappies.
So I haven't been to any of the sports shows in Fargo for a number of years since I lived up there, probably. But we always had a fun time at the Sportsman Show there at the Fargo Dome, and I just remember Twiggy, the water skiing squirrel, is who I always remember. That was always kind of the big thing. They'd come into the radio stations with this squirrel and be like, "Yeah, this squirrel's going to be water skiing." And Brian Chin would come by. The squirrel's going to be water skiing later today at the Fargo Dome. Like, huh? But I didn't see Twiggy this time around in some of the promotions for it, but I did see a talking otter.
There was a talking otter. Your inner otter was at the Red River Valley Sportsman Show, and was happy to be there. And that's, we don't typically do a lot of sportsman shows, but we thought that, hey, let's try something different. And it's, as people were walking through the place, it was fun to see people we knew, connect with people we didn't know, and just try to share the plethora of things to do in Ottertail County that are outdoor related.
So in the summertime in Fargo, the town was like a ghost town because everybody would go to lakes country and head to places like Ottertail County, go to their lake cabins, go to their friends' places, or go to a resort. And a lot of those plans are being made now. So if somebody wants to come up and spend a weekend or a week up at one of those 1,100 lakes or so that you got up there in Ottertail Lakes country, now's the time to plan that, isn't it?
Yeah. What did I say off camera? If you plan on coming here in the summer, you better plan now.
Yeah, don't
wait. Yeah, there's openings at local resorts, and but the one thing I would add is most of the openings are most people book from Memorial Day to Labor Day, right? And so if your favorite resort doesn't have an opening in the prime of summer, May, whether it's pre-opener even is okay because of the pan fishing opportunities that we have in the county, or September. So or obviously October, but if you're planning on coming to Ottertail County this summer, you had better be making your plans now, because the good resorts fill up fast. So yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, fall is a good time to go up there. You know, obviously I've been through there in the fall quite a bit, but we went up and filmed that muskie show up there, and the North Shore, I think, gets a lot of the attention when it comes to the leaf colors and the changing of the colors in the fall. But I'll tell you what, you got plenty of trees that change colors in Ottertail County, and with some of those fall fishing or hunting opportunities there, that's a pretty neat destination in the fall too.
I lived in Duluth. I love Duluth. I love the North Shore, but I would put that Pelican Rapids to Dent, Maplewood State Park. If you're into that fall vibe, fall colors, whether it's fishing or hunting or hiking or biking or whatever it is, Maplewood State Park is, in my humble opinion, top 5 for fall colors. And again, you're close to Pelican Rapids, you're close to Dent, you're not far from Perham, you're just north of Fergus Falls. So you're absolutely right. Fall can be a fantastic time. And again, that May, opener is middle of May, and usually you can find a few openings as far as getting away between May and Memorial Day.
Well, Erik, if somebody wants to plan a summer trip, maybe a fall trip, or a late ice fishing trip, and they want to bring Tiny along and her bone that she's whipping around the room right now, what should they do?
They could go to ottertaillakescountry.com and they can find their inner otter there.
Looking for winter adventure? Might as well pick a place with over 1,000 lakes. Ottertail County, Minnesota is in the middle of everywhere, offers a simpler pace, and has something for everyone. Find your inner otter at ottertaillakescountry.com.
Keeping sheep on the mountain. That's the goal of the Wild Sheep Foundation, and you can help by attending the Midwest chapter of the Wild Sheep Foundation's annual banquet, March 25th and 26th at the Minneapolis Marriott Southwest in Minnetonka. This year, you could win your very own Dall sheep hunt in the Yukon. Plus, enjoy keynote speakers like conservationist Shane Mahoney, President and CEO of the Wild Sheep Foundation, Gray Thornton, and the British Columbia Backcountry Hunters and Anglers Chapter Liaison, Bill Hanlon. Plus, there'll be live and silent auctions and seminars put on by the Huntin' Fool. For more information, go to MidwestWildSheep.com.
All right, about 12 years ago, Adam Forsythe was making jigs for his lake trout fishing. And he was playing around with some different designs and different sizes. And he gave one to Matt Brewer and said, Matt, play around with this thing, see what you think about it, and see what you can catch on it. He said, you need to make these for Eelpout as well. And that's where Big Nasty Tackle was formed. And he ran that company making those jigs for a number of years. And then about 2 years ago, then Matt Erickson and Dave Whitner purchased the company. And Matt joins us right now here on the show. Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks.
I had a good conversation with Adam. Adam couldn't be here with us today, but I had a good conversation with him, and he shared a bunch of stories about making those big jigs. You know what? The one question I forgot to ask him is I was going to ask him where the name came from, Big Nasty, because immediately when you hear the name Big Nasty, you know exactly everybody knows exactly what jigs you're talking about when you hear the name Big Nasty.
Yeah, it's got a good reputation. It's got a good name around.
Absolutely. Do you know where the name came from?
We don't. That's what it was when we got it, and we liked it. It's got name recognition, and it sells clothes. Everybody wants to have Big Nasty clothes.
It sells clothes. That's half of marketing right there. Just having a good name and a good look. There you go, right there. Maybe it's because Eelpout. Eelpout used to have kind of I don't want to say a nasty reputation, but for a long time, people had that perception of them as being trash fish and, they're slimy and they wrap around your arm and all that stuff. Well, thankfully, that reputation is changing and people are starting to appreciate just what fun those fish are, what they mean for water quality and how much fun they can be, how delicious they can be and just how much fun they can be to catch. And personally, I think they just look cool. That's what I've always liked about them. It's just the look. And they're like, I don't remember if it was Durham or Rylander. I was we fished with the Jasons the other night filming for Prairie Sportsman. And I'm pretty sure one of them said they're like snowflakes. No two are alike. They all kind of look a little bit different. And that's what I appreciate about them. I think they're pretty cool looking fish. And obviously you've seen the explosion in popularity in these fish too, haven't you?
It's just crazy. It's picking up all over all kinds of states in the Union here in Canada and overseas in Europe. It's just crazy.
So we did this story for Prairie Sportsman, and my nephew Dan over there, he was telling me, well, if you're going to go pound fishing, you got to get these big nasty jigs. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, all right. So I'll do that. And then he went to Bemidji State. So he's like, yeah, I stop into Northwoods there and he can pick some up. So we went there and we were talking to them about it. And they told us about you and being over in Cass Lake. Well, we had to go through Cass Lake anyway. So that's when I called you up and I said, we got to stop by and learn a little bit more about these jigs and how you make them. And I appreciate you walking us through the entire process of making those jigs, Matt.
Yeah, no problem. We're not trying to hide anything. We make a good product and we hope people appreciate it and buy it.
So we went and got to see some of the process, including painting some of those jigs there at the shop. And the one thing that you didn't, oh yeah, so you powder coat them?
Yeah, they're powder coated in fluid bed.
Now, so we're looking at this bubbling substance here, and that's just air causing that, right?
That's correct, yep.
Now, you wouldn't think that looks like it's 150,000 degrees, but that's just air bubbling under there to make it boil like that.
That's correct. Yeah, we run 9 different boxes now. We're putting 3 more in today for new colors coming this fall.
Oh, is that top secret, or can we talk about those colors?
No, it's not top secret. We're not set on the colors yet. We do know we're going to do a glow white, but we're not sure on the other 2 colors.
I'll tell you what, that's the one thing you didn't take me into the radioactive room where you have your secret glow ingredients, because man, so Adam was telling me, I wrote this down. I got to find the exact thing. Yeah. When he was painting these, cause I told him, I said, man, how do you get those things to glow so much? And he just said, yeah, one time I had them all lined up on a drying rack and I could turn all the lights off and read the newspaper. That's how bright it was.
We've had multiple reports where people get them in their mail and they have them laying on their table overnight and they get up at 2:00 in the morning and they're still glowing.
Wow. That's crazy. So obviously, like any other glow thing, you charge them a little bit with some light, but how long are you supposed to get a glow out of them before you have to recharge them like that?
We've been hearing we do powder coat on all of them, and then some of them have the paint. The original color lasts between 20 and 30 minutes, sometimes longer, I've heard. The regular powder coated ones we're doing now with different colors last about half that time, 10 to 20 minutes.
I like big, heavy jigs when you're fishing a little bit deeper. We weren't fishing too deep when we were using them last time, but it was still nice to get down to the bottom in a hurry. These are generally a little bit heavier, but you offer a variety of weights and sizes for these now, don't you?
Yeah, in the 3 spoon sizes, we offer 5/8, 1 1/8 ounce, and 1 3/8 ounce. And then we have 6 different jig head sizes from 1/8 ounce all the way up to 1 ounce. We found that these are good for more than just eelpout and trout, honestly. The guys are catching on for walleye now. They're fishing them over 30-foot breaks, and they're dropping down some 1/8 ounce stuff, 1/4 ounce stuff, 3/8 ounce, and they're slamming walleyes with them.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, half the time, all the eelpout I've caught have been when I was walleye fishing. So obviously you can find them in some of the same areas, and having a glow presentation, maybe tipped with a minnow head too, or, really you're fishing with a lot of the same kind of stuff for both of those species. But man, I like that spoon. I love a rattle. I love making noise while I'm down there pounding the bottom. It was actually kind of funny. When we fished with the Jasons the other night, the first thing, it was still light out. So when I got there, I dropped my underwater camera down, and I just wanted to get a look at the bottom of the lake, kind of get an idea of the structure we were fishing while it was still bright enough to use it. And I even turned the light on the camera, and Rylander's like, oh, pound that camera on the bottom a little bit. You'll have a eelpout right now. And I was like, oh, really? I mean, with the light on and everything? He goes, oh, yeah. So I pounded the camera on the bottom, and sure enough, I had an eelpout come right up and bump his head right into the camera. And then I bet I saw 5 or 6 before we even hit sunset. I've just pounded the bottom. So I like that big profile, that big heavy spoon with the rattle in there, make a lot of noise down on the bottom. Yeah, that guy right there. And just make a racket, call those fish in, Matt.
Yeah, that's what we're known for. It's been catching on. It's just been great the last 2 years since we've owned it.
So it was kind of funny. Adam was telling the story about he was making those jigs, and then one day he got a phone call from a guy in Finland. Said, "Yeah, I'd like to order some." I don't know how to do a Finnish accent.
Not sure that's Finnish.
That was terrible.
Try again.
Right.
I would like to order some of these big nasty jigs. He's like, "How did you hear about us in Finland?" And he wasn't doing any marketing. He said, but between Matt Brewer and Jason Rylander, and then Brett McComas and Jason Durham, they were putting these videos on YouTube, and these guys all around the world were seeing them and saying, "Oh, I need to get some of those jigs to do some fishing over here." Yeah, here's Durham catching one the other night around one of those jigs right there. This is something that you'll see on Prairie Sportsman coming up later this season, probably in a month or so. But they're fun. I mean, and that's not even a real big one, but that right there will show you just why they're so much fun to catch. They're kind of like lake trout in a sense for me, or trout, because they never really sit still. They're so strong and muscular, and they just are angry and not happy about their current situation, which means it's a lot of fun on the other end of the rod there. Yeah.
I love how they wrap around your arm when you try to pick them out of the hole. It's just great.
Now, you're actually shipping jigs to Finland and around the world, aren't you?
Sweden and Norway and some of the European countries. Yeah, I've been contacted by a distributor over there and wants to do everything Europe for me. And that's why we've kind of tried some alternative stuff now. So I've got all the top 4 sizes, the 3 spoons and then 1 ounce in alternative metal, no lead. And that's what's a requirement to be in the European Union.
I think you're going to start seeing that more and more around here too. So sounds like you're ahead of the game.
So. Yeah, we're looking at the future. We want to make sure this is a lasting endeavor and just keep expanding, get new product, do quality. That's our goal.
Are you hearing from people asking about alternatives to lead yet, or any people saying they don't want alternatives to lead? Or I feel like the conservation mindset is becoming more and more prevalent, especially with younger generations out there especially when it comes to like catch and release. But I could see a lot of those people being open, as long as they can get to the bottom, with an alternative to lead, and they've got something that they can pound the bottom with. I don't think they're going to have any, and the price, of course, but I don't think they're going to have any problem with using alternatives around here.
New Hampshire and Montana are big on alternative. I sell a few to them right now. It's not huge numbers right now, but it's taken off as I've put more and more online now. I'm getting orders for them, and I know Montana and New Hampshire are real big on them.
The biggest problem has been the cost of getting some of that alternative stuff. Is that cost coming down? Is it becoming more comparable, or is that still a barrier?
It's going up.
It's going up.
It keeps going up. Yeah, it's over 10 times the amount for the tin that I'm using alternative versus lead right now.
Wow.
It's just. But we're trying to do it. We got to get it done. The world's going that way. I mean, we outlawed steel shot or lead shot, in shells, and now we're doing steel. So we're going that way. We know it's going to come eventually. So we got to figure out how to do it. It does weigh about 20% less than the lead, which isn't too bad when you're using the big jigs. I'm trying to make some bigger spoons right now, go up to the 2 and 3 and 4 ounce size at 20% less, and they will still get down there to that 60 feet, 100 feet. So,
well, and as much lake trout fishing I do in deeper water up in Saskatchewan, I'll welcome some of those bigger pieces in that glow. I mean, that glow is just unreal. So some bigger jigs in that glow, I'll happily take a few off your hand. Absolutely.
Sure.
And so we can find you in MD Pond in Cass Lake. That's where you make them. You got a pawn shop and a tackle shop there too. And it was pretty funny, guys. We went in there and we were micing them up for the TV show for Prairie Sportsman. And you looked at the microphones and you're like, "Hey, I've got a set of those microphones here in the shop. Come take a look." Well, you don't have them in the shop anymore. I've been using them. So you never know what you can find in a place like that.
Yeah, that's the benefit out of a pawn shop. Things turn over, something new all the time. I got people coming on a weekly basis just to look and see what's new.
Well, where can we find you online or obviously you're in Cass Lake there. People can find you if you're driving through Cass Lake. You'll see you on the side of the road there. Where else can we find you in the digital world?
BigNastyTackle.com. It's our website. It's user friendly. It's for cell phones, desktops. We ship out every morning.
And can people can order them online too?
Yep. Just go right to Big Nasty Tackle, and it'll come up, and we pay through PayPal. And I get the orders every morning. Any questions? You can You go to BigNastyTackle@gmail.com, and that comes into my desk, and I answer questions. You can give us a call on the telephone.
There you go. Look at those colors. And when are we going to see the new colors, you think?
I try to have them out by September. That's my goal.
September. Okay. Very good. All right, Matt Erickson, Big Nasty Tackle. Good luck with everything up there. Thanks for the time today on the show.
852 million acres of public land, 147 million private properties, all in the palm of your hand. The #1 hunting GPS app just got better. With hundreds of custom map layers, 3D and topographic maps, you can easily scout on the road or at home before you go. And now you can get important weather details, CWD detection, and even know what crops have been planted where. Get the most trusted hunting GPS app ever made. OnX. Know where you stand with OnX.
Come ice fish the famous waters of Minnesota's Lake of the Woods, the walleye capital of the world. Experience full-service resorts featuring heated fish houses, ice transportation, meal plans, and sleeper house options. From the northwest angle to the south shore, Rainy River and Baudette, the Midwest's #1 ice fishing destination. Walleye, sauger, perch, and northern pike. Minnesota's Lake of the Woods, best fishing anywhere. For more information, log on to lakeofthewoodsmn.com.
Well, the ice fishing season doesn't seem to be slowing down despite it being near the end. It's kind of bonus time for those that like to fish out on the hard water. Although the temperature definitely starting to feel a little bit warmer. It's starting to feel like spring. We've seen a lot of Canada geese kind of migrating up into the area a little bit. So we are close, but there's definitely still a lot of ice out there. And David, you've been actually out chasing. Well, first of all, let's bring up both of you guys, Dan and David, because both of you guys did a little bit of fishing this past weekend. Only one was in a boat and one was on hard water.
Yeah.
And you guys both caught the same amount of fish.
Well, I might have caught more than Dan, just nothing worth keeping.
Same. How do you know how many I caught?
I don't.
I'm taking offense to this. You're just assuming.
I thought you didn't catch anything.
Well, that's not
They
true.
caught a moon eye.
A moon eye.
Oh.
That's what they got.
Fish is a fish.
One?
The tug is the drug.
Singular?
Well, that's for the imagination to
I
discover.
caught at least 5.
Prove it.
Pictures or it didn't happen.
More than one.
All right. Well, I want to hear about how you did that, and we're going to talk a little Panoptics tips. We're also going to bring on the award-winning Joe Henry right now from Lake of the Woods Tourism. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Brett. Appreciate it.
And the crowd goes wild. What was the award? What were you doing?
Yeah, well, last week we had the Explore Minnesota Tourism Conference, and to my surprise, I was awarded the Tourism Professional of the Year, which was very, very honored, very humbled to receive such a prestigious award. And
obviously, you had blackmail on somebody.
Congratulations. Thank you. Yeah, I had blackmailed. Boy, I tell you, I'd had everybody I could, all my friends and relatives, sending letters, of support. No, just kidding. It was a very, very nice honor. And, tourism in Minnesota is a very big and very important industry. They say that for every dollar of lodging tax, for every dollar of lodging spent in Minnesota, there's about a 5 to 7 time trickle down effect to the local economies. So, when we get tourism going, if we get tourists coming to our destinations, that feeds the entire economy, not just the resorts, not just fishing. It's gas, booze, fishing, hardware stores. I can go on and on, but it's good for everybody. And that's what tourism's all about. And it's important to keep our small communities rocking.
Absolutely. And that there would be a lot of small communities that wouldn't be here if it weren't for the outdoor tourism aspect, hunters and anglers going to these small communities and pumping some money into those economies. And that brings up another discussion, and maybe this discussion is for another day, Joe, but it ties into the amount of pressure that's getting put on not just Lake of the Woods, but a lot of lakes, whether it's from wheelhouse usage or, better electronics. So, David, we were talking about Panoptics a little bit and live scope and how that's affected your fishing. And nowadays, everybody's got these forward-facing sonar technology, it seems like, in their boats or in their fish houses if they're out there in the wintertime. Another biologist sent out a fishing report on one of our lakes, and he said that a lot of people have been bringing up to him, what is this additional pressure and these increased? The argument always comes up every time there's an advancement in electronics. It's like, oh, here we go. Underwater cameras they're gonna catch every fish in the lake, and better electronics come out. They're gonna catch every fish in the lake, and obviously you still have to catch the fish, but we've talked a lot about how what it is going to do, probably all these things, all this pressure, COVID, the increase in license sales, the increased pressure, there's definitely fish getting caught. They're probably going to lower limits, I'd assume, and not just on, maybe Lake of the Woods. I know you guys have altered limits here in the recent years, but I think everywhere you're just going to end up seeing a decrease in limits in harvest and what you can catch. What does that mean from a tourism perspective? That's always hard, right? Because you don't want any sort of negative, oh, you can't keep as many fish now, but at the same time, you have to look to the future for sustainability, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say a few things on that. So first off, it's my understanding that when they came out with Vexilars, that people said, oh man, the fish don't have a chance now. And then it was underwater cameras, and now it's the Panoptics or forward-facing sonars or the Humminbirds or whatever. So I don't know what it means, but I'll tell you what, number one, and I know the DNR takes a lot of hits. Yeah. Very thankful for our local DNR biologists because, we're a large lake. So consequently, we have large lake specialists that work on our lake every single year, and they're keeping information as far as test netting, seine netting, creel surveys, documenting how much pressure's on our lake. All those stats that we can look at and look for trends. And that really helps, I think, those guys make a guesstimation on, is our lake healthy? Is the fishing pressure on our lake sustainable? Is it that, because we have that slot limit, 19.5 to 28 inches, right now the DNR believes that our lake is sustainable, meaning it's not in trouble. However, if you take 10 walleyes and put them in a bathtub and have 2 anglers fishing, and now you add 2 more anglers, perhaps the same amount of fish are going to be caught, maybe a little bit more, but you're just dividing them more. So your catch rate per person goes down. Those are all things to consider. How come we're not catching as many of those nicer walleyes as we used to? Well, looking at right now, we can see that there is a not a real good spawning class coming all the way through, and we're marking what they think is in the lake is typically what anglers are catching. I'll tell you the other thing. When the winter is over, we always hear stuff in February because February is a tougher month of ice fishing. When we get out in that open water and people start catching these nice walleyes because they can move around and stuff, the comments, where in the heck were these fish in February?
In the winter.
You know what I mean?
I feel like that happens every year.
Exactly. It does happen every year. And so anyway, I think the DNR's perspective, and I don't want to speak for them, but I can tell you what I've heard is that, hey, listen, we're not saying everything is perfect. We're not worried like things are in danger, but what we're looking at is, hey, let's manage this thing. Let's take a look at it. And let's take a look at it every single year. In fact, I'm part of the Lake of the Woods Fisheries Input Group, which we're meeting at the end of the month. And, we'll get a state of the lake report. We'll get an idea of what folks are thinking. So, but again, it's all these things. Hey, here's the other thing. You want to talk about technology, put more pressure on fish? We talk about wheelhouses. And like anything in life, there's pros and cons. Wheelhouses are tough in the sense that there's so many more people fishing. They have lines down 24/7 because it's so comfortable to be out on the ice. Now, the flip side of that, the positive side is, boy, it's getting people and kids and families out ice fishing that maybe otherwise wouldn't be fishing. It's really comfortable. It's enjoyable. So there's pros and cons to everything in life. And the bottom line is it does put more pressure, I think, on our fisheries. So every lake, every river has to be managed in a way that it's going to be sustainable. People naturally think that, oh, Joe, you're part of the resort community up at Lake of the Woods, so you want to keep as much as you can for the resorts. That is not true. Our perspective of the majority of our resort owners is that I have my business on this natural resource that really I rely on so people come up and visit me. I'm looking at sustainability first and then other things second, because without the natural resources, I have nothing.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, I work with a lodge in Saskatchewan where pretty much everything is all catch and release because we want to protect that fishery. And obviously we're not up there trying to catch walleyes for a fish fry or anything. It's a little bit different situation. But when you have the trophy fishing that you have at Lake of the Woods, I'll say it 100 times, that slot limit is about the best thing that could have happened up there for big fish catching. And our trip up there this summer, I mean, we've never caught more walleyes on a fishing, more big walleyes like that on a fishing trip. And a lot of them were in that slot.
I get some people criticizing that slot limit, and everybody has the right to their opinion. I respect it. I will say this, and I've guided on Lake Erie where they keep every fish, but if our slot limit on Lake of the Woods is 19.5 to 28 inches must be returned to the water. You can keep 1 over 28 if you want to mount, and of course you keep your fish under 19.5. Number one, the fish under 19.5 are the best eaters.
Yeah.
When you come out with a plate of fish, which pieces of fish get taken first? It's the small ones. It's because they taste the best. Number two, why is it 19.5 to 28? On Lake of the Woods, a 19.5 inch female walleye becomes reproductive fish. So that's why it starts at 19.5. Thirdly, if we didn't have a slot limit, how many of those 25 inch fish or everything around them would be going in coolers and going home?
Yeah. I'm shocked when I see those pictures from Erie of those 10 pounders getting slabbed, people keeping all those big fish. I can't believe it.
Well, and I'll tell you, and when I first moved out there, I tell you what, I was on a head boat and I threw a 25 incher back over the side of the boat. I thought I was going to get lynched. I mean, honest to goodness, they couldn't believe I threw that fish back. And it's just culture. But you know what? Yeah. Out of fairness to that wonderful natural resource, it's a good walleye lake, and they just keep producing so many walleyes. They believe the lake can withstand that pressure. There's a lot of lake out on Lake Erie. A lot of that lake doesn't get fished.
Well, let's give some late ice fishing tips. I know this isn't as common of a practice maybe on Lake of the Woods to be mobile because you don't have to be just quite as mobile. But David, when you like to truck fish a lot, don't you?
Yeah. Yep.
So
I like driving around, trying different spots.
Kind of explain your philosophy with that.
Last night I was out doing it again. There was no snow, so I could go anywhere on the lake I wanted. And, depending on the weather, I'll just drill one hole by my door and fish for 5 to 20 minutes, depending if there's fish there or not. But like last night, it was so nice and I could walk around easy. I'd drive to a new spot and then punch 5-10 holes and just walk around so I didn't have to move my truck 10 feet every time. And then if you do find them, move your truck up to that hole and sit out of the wind and fish.
But when you drill that hole, then you're dropping that. You got live scope, yep. Right? You're dropping that down. How far out are you? Because you can spin around and look for fish.
Depends on how deep it is. So where I was fishing in 20 feet of water, I could go out 80 to 100 feet and see if there was any suspended fish or try and pick something up on the bottom. Another lake I would like to fish is only 10 to 12 feet deep, and you can't see out as far. You can only see 40, 50 feet before it gets too distorted. So if it's deeper water, you can definitely see farther.
They're definitely game changers. And again, like we talked about, you still have to catch the fish.
Correct.
But man, to be able to do that. Now I know you can't really get around like that on Lake of the Woods. This year, Joe, the snow up there has been crazy.
Oh, it's thick. Well, right about now we have over 3 feet of ice in most places, and we have over 3 feet of snow. So it's good. But I tell you, it's Mother Nature has a way of taking care of things, and our water and we've had drought, and our water levels are low. So this is certainly going to fill up that lake a little bit, and it's all good. I'll say this. With our ice fishing that lasts longer, our fish houses can be overnight on the ice through March 31st. Walleye season goes through April 14th, and pike never closes. Tell you what, we're gonna have fish houses out through March this year, and you know what? They're gonna be pike fishing with tip ups into April, well into April. In fact, I wouldn't doubt we have some ice into May. Mother Nature will determine, but.
Hey, just make sure it's not on the Rainy River, April 4th through the 7th, please, because that's when we got our big. We got our big 500 show party, and we would like to be.
I'll tell you what, I promise you this. That party, now, if we can get in that river like we normally can every year, probably we'll be able to get up by Birchdale and stuff, and that's where a lot of those big girls are. Number one, fishing's probably going to be great. Number two, worst case scenario, with the crowd that's going to be up there, Heck, I bet a lot of people are hoping we can't get in the river. I mean, that's going to be a good, fun crowd.
We're going to have a good time either way. No doubt about it. A bunch of prizes. The Fish Donkey Tournament. Download the Fish Donkey app. 2-day tournament, $20 person, April 5 and 6, brought to you by Yamaha Right Waters, Live Target, Smith's Consumer Products. And we're staying at Riverbend Resort. We're going to have a happy hour in the bar every day from 4:30 to 6. 6 o'clock every night. We'll do some prizes and stuff. And then we're going to record this show live and in person. So you can come be a part of the show. That'll be, I think, the Wednesday night, right? Isn't that what we're going to do Wednesday? So it's April 4 is Monday, April 5. So April 6th, I believe, we'll do like a prize ceremony for the winners. So if you do win in the tournament, you got to come join us for your prizes at 6 p.m. or so on April 6th at Riverbend Resort on the Rainy River. Joe, you were in Fargo last week and you're in Sioux Falls this week. It's show season, Joe, and you're going to be down in Sioux Falls this weekend?
Yeah, yep. I saw a lot of great people in Fargo. I had a booth for Lake of the Woods Tourism, did seminars, did a little bit of live TV in the morning to promote the show, did some radio. Saw our friends from FN Walleyes Unlimited out there. I mean, just really a good crew in Fargo. Really a lot of great anglers out there, a lot of great outdoors. And now, this sports show season, we're heading to Sioux Falls. The Sioux Empire Sportsman Show is this weekend in Sioux Falls. And again, I'll have a booth doing seminars. Spot hopping for walleyes is one of them. And then the other one is, finding fish on new water. And we're talking about all the different strategies and techniques to approach a new body of water, or maybe even the existing body of water if you fish, but kind of erasing your hard drive in your head and saying, hey, if I was brand new to this lake or river, how would I approach things differently? It's been well received so far.
Boy, that just saying erasing a hard drive scares me, Joe. You know how much I deal with hard drives.
Yeah, but you know what I know, between you and Danny and the brain power you guys have, you have so many backups going on that, I mean, you got it in the cloud. I'm sure you have all that situated, don't you?
Well, you might stop overestimating us.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if there's anybody that has a cloud backup service out there, you might want to talk about praise for us.
No, we do try to back up some stuff. I actually just ordered a new hard drive yesterday to do some more backups because, but we, honestly, a lot of our stuff does get backed up in different places, just maybe not as much as it should be. Definitely not. But all right, Joe, people want to come up for late ice fishing, maybe do some open water fishing on the Rainy River when it's open during our party on April 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Or if they want to plan some summer trips, where should they go for more info?
You know what? Facebook, Instagram are great resources for day-to-day information. If you want to find out information about coming up there, check out our website, lakeofthewoodsmn.com.
Sporting Journal Radio is a division of Macaba LLC. If you've got a question, comment, or story idea for us, send us an email. Go to sportingjournalradio.com. While you're there, you can learn how to advertise on the show and visit our store for hats, hoodies, coffee mugs, and more. Go to sportingjournalradio.com.